You will get the feeling of these gardens just by being in them.
Docent volunteer Daphne Lombardo is spending the day taking guests through the 6 unique Japanese gardens at the Morikami Museum. She's just one piece of the puzzle that makes up the experience of Oshogatsu 2016, the Japanese New Year celebration. Oshogatsu at Palm Beach County's Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens is a day full of culture. Festivities surrounding music, ceremonies, and food to ring in the Year of the Monkey.
As you travel the path, you're going to walk from concrete to inlaid slate to wood.
We caught up with Lombardo and others to get a behind-the-scenes look at the many ways guests can experience a day of Japanese culture right here in South Florida.
The garden tours give people an experience of a garden, and the Japanese garden in particular, which is inspired by historical gardens in Japan.
She starts at the main museum building and winds the guests through a plethora of flowers, rocks, and insect life, explaining the history of each garden and traveling through time along the way. First up is the Shinden Gardens, inspired by the 9th to 12th centuries in Japan. While light and playful, she describes the next garden as quite the opposite.
No colorful flowers in this garden.
She explains the 13th century was a dark time in Japanese history, while the next 2 gardens, the early and late rock gardens, provide a place for peaceful meditation. She and the guests are intrigued by the way these gardens are cared for. They're raked meticulously by Morikami staff. Lombardo finishes up the tour by moving through the Edo and Meiji periods, from the Hiraniwa Flat to the modern romantic garden.
We get a lot of Western ideas coming into garden design because at that time Japan was opening to the West.
Aside from the sheer beauty of these gardens, Lombardo enjoys the learning experience they provide, allowing guests to take in the history and culture at their own pace.
It just opens our Western minds to a new way of looking at nature.
From a calm garden tour, we move to a more upbeat activity.
Daiko drumming can take a lot of different forms. It can be very festive. It can be more somber and dramatic. Sometimes we use the melodic instruments like the flute or the koto. There's definitely a heavy dance and martial arts influence.
Ben Miller, who's been a drummer himself since he was 6 years old, is now the artistic director for Fushu Daiko, a taiko drumming team founded in 1990, now with 12 performing members. The team often plays at Morikami at celebrations like Oshogatsu. The passion they have for the art of taiko drumming is clear in each performance.
And unless you're getting sweaty and red-faced and getting your heart up and really giving it, then honestly, you're not doing it right.
And sweaty and red-faced is exactly what happens during their performances, especially those that they play at Morikami. Since they're outdoors, Miller says there isn't much room to play with delicate sounds out here.
We tend to put a little bit more screaming and bell sounds and cymbal sounds to kind of make it a brighter sound.
The performance, which guests can see multiple times throughout the day, includes lots of screaming, banging, and drumming. But if guests are seeking a quieter activity, they can turn to a Japanese tea ceremony, a staple of Japanese culture. As tea ceremony host Chieko Mihori explains, hundreds of years ago, ceremonies like this one were practiced only by those in higher culture, like shoguns, samurai warriors, and philosophers. But over time, they evolved to become part of the culture for most Japanese.
This is the kind of our daily life. Just like us, same of you invite your friend a cup of coffee, afternoon tea, or lunch or dinner.
The audience can watch as Mihori serves tea to her 3 guests as tradition allows. She sets up her instruments, cleans her utensils, mixes 2 types of teas, and strives to uphold 4 values that she says are important in the Japanese culture: harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility.
When you go into the tea house, in the tea room, and you just enjoy the tranquility and in a very quiet moment to sip the tea among the friends. That's very important.
Tea ceremonies, garden tours, taiko drumming, but that's not all Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens offers during their Oshogatsu celebration. Guests can stroll the facility to view the museum's exhibits and bonsai plants. They can play games and purchase Japanese souvenirs, even watch as mochi is made. Palm Beach County's Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens can be enjoyed year-round, and it's just one of the dozens of facilities helping to promote stewardship of natural and cultural sites in Palm Beach County. Visit pbcparks.com for more information on Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens, and to learn more about how we create opportunities for healthy, happy living.